Good afternoon. Today is July 16th, 2021. My name is Beata Leah. I'm an immigration attorney at Minsky, McCormick, and Halligan in Chicago. And I'm unfortunately joining you today to share some sad news. A federal judge in Texas has just again blocked the DACA program. The fate of DACA beneficiaries has always been in peril, but in the last 4.5 years, since the start of the Trump administration, when it was initially canceled, to many cases that went up and down the federal courts and ultimately up to the Supreme Court, it was at times completely blocked, only blocked for certain individuals, then partially reinstated and later fully reinstated. And now under the Biden administration, there is an initiative to legalize permanently the status of DACA beneficiaries, but President Biden alone cannot do that. It does require congressional legislation, and until that happens, this roller coaster will unfortunately continue because DACA has been fully reinstated since December of 2020. But again, as a result of today's decision in Texas v. US, DACA is again blocked. So what does this mean? Well, today's decision, interestingly, states that USCIS, the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Service agency, can in fact continue to accept both new DACA applications and renewal applications, but it cannot approve any of those applications. And so individuals who have pending DACA applications, whether they be first-time new DACA or renewal DACA applications, will at this time not be able to get a decision. I assume that those applications will remain in what's called abeyance, just in a pending status, until this is resolved. And also states that, fortunately, if there is any good news, although this isn't really good news, is that individuals who have approved DACA, their approved DACA is not currently in jeopardy. It will remain in effect. Although that question of whether or not it can later be rescinded is still an open question. Some of you may be wondering why we're still having this issue, why DACA beneficiaries continue to be, on this roller coaster where they can and at points in time cannot extend or obtain DACA status, and especially in light of the fact that the U.S. Supreme Court did rule on DACA last year in June. And the fact is that the Supreme Court decision last year did reinstate DACA, but it did still leave open the possibility of canceling it. That Supreme Court decision merely found that the reasoning that the Trump administration found for or used in canceling DACA was not reasoned or was not acceptable, but it did not find or conclude that DACA itself cannot be canceled, which most legal scholars agree can. And so again, this decision today highlights this roller coaster where courts can find better reasoning or states that, in this case, move to cancel DACA, provide better reasoning for canceling it. And today's decision basically finds that the reasoning provided was sufficient to cancel or block DACA for the time being. This will certainly be appealed, but we, of course, don't know what will happen or when it will happen. And it highlights the need for Congress to enact immigration reform, if not comprehensive immigration reform, at least reform to provide DACA beneficiaries who came to the United States as children a path to legalizing their status permanently. So reach out to your congressional representatives. And for those of you who have DACA, my heart goes out to you. I feel awful. I cannot imagine how stressful this must be. And I encourage you to please contact an immigration attorney to discuss paths to legalizing your status apart from DACA, if any exist. And in many cases they don't, but in some cases they do. And that also includes the possibility of employment-based immigration. So again, I'm very sorry to be sharing this news, but stay tuned. There will certainly be more to come. Thank you.